Hi, welcome to Moyna Bass Fishes, and I am Jim Moyna. In this video, I would like to thank all the management from the FLW Tour over the years that brought the FLW Tour to the pinnacle of professional bass fishing. And the reason why I'm thanking them now is because I guess the FLW Tour is officially over with as of about 2-3 weeks ago. FLW Tour had been bought by Major League Fishing. Major League Fishing tried to make it work for 3 years, and they couldn't make it work. They couldn't make money off of it. It was a money drain to their company. So, and I can't blame them. I mean, you don't want to be just throwing money down a hole and never see it again. So, I guess with whatever way they're running it, I don't know the ins and outs of how you run it, how you make money off of it, but they said they weren't making any money. So if you're not making money on something, I guess you got to kill it, right? So that's what they did. They killed the FLW Tour. So now there's no such thing as that. So that's why I want to give thanks to the people that got the FLW going. Who was it? It was Erwin Jacobs. He was the man behind it. So the late Erwin Jacobs. So I thank him. Charlie Hoover. I haven't seen or heard from him for many years, but he was like one of the head dogs there in those early days. And I'm sure he had a lot to do with, pointing the ship in the right direction before he stepped down. And then Charlie Evans got in there. And I think Charlie Evans got in there and he found another gear to that ship and set it forward faster to greater heights. And Erwin, right there, in the spotlight at times, showing up at tournaments, keeping an eye on his product, is one of many businesses. And I don't know, things were great. The management, their marketing teams, it seems like they all had it clicking. All through, they started, 96, I think, and all the way up for, I don't know, like the first 12 years, man, they just kept going. I mean, it just was trending upward and upward and upward until we hit the recession of 08, 09, and things at that point then went the other way and just continued that way all the way up to the MLF buyout of FLW, and then their 3 years of handling it, they couldn't right that ship, and now the thing's run aground and burned down on the beach. So it's a bummer. It's a huge bummer. But I gotta thank those guys that really got it cranking up in the early beginnings. It's just sad to see. I mean, look where they had this sport at one time. We had 6 qualifying tournaments for most of the existence of it. The FLW Tour, you had 6 qualifying tournaments. So back then there were 6. At the height of it, 3 of those 6 tournaments, you were fishing for $200,000 for first place, $100,000 for second, $50,000 for third, and half the field got paid. The last guy that was paid still made 10 grand. Then while they're doing this, they're also running a subset circuit called the Flw Series that kind of ran more in the fall time. The FLW Tour was January-ish to June, August, and then they had these like 3 or 4 fall tournaments where again you were fishing for 100 grand for first, like 50 for second, you still had just outstanding payouts in those series tournaments. So you had all these freaking just awesome tournaments to fish in, and the payouts were half. I mean, I don't have the exact number in front of me, but way less. I mean, like half of what we're paying for now. Half. And we're getting twice as much. So that was one thing that they had going for us fishermen. Thank you for those huge payouts. Thank you for doing, and I can't forget the Millennial Tournaments they had, which they had two of. The one was I don't know, wherever Cypress Gardens is in Florida, the one there, and then the one in the Mobile Delta, where the winner got $1 million in two of those Millennial Tournaments. And those were just one-off. Those were one-off tournaments. They weren't part of any circuit, any series. It's like, you know, here's a bunch of ways you can qualify to get into it, and if you get into it, you had a chance to win $1 million in them tournaments. As long as you had the contingencies in place to do that. I think you won minimum of 500. Well, the two guys that won, Darrell Robertson and David Dudley, I mean, I don't think either one, they had all the contingencies to make the million, but they had a few of them. So they each got like $700,000-800,000 for winning that tournament. $800,000. And the tournament entry fee was $5,000, but if you had some of those contingencies in place, you automatically got some of that money back no matter where you placed in the tournament. And I'm not talking just $100 or $200. I'm talking for each contingency you had, you got like $1,000 back, even if you didn't place. So, and by the way, I did fish both of those, and it was exciting times, exciting to fish those. So, what else did they do? Oh, I didn't even. Okay, what about the regular FLW Tour Championship? What about that? At the height of their of what they were doing, and I think they had this payout 3 years in a row, $1 million guaranteed, first place in the championship. And of course, everybody in the championship got paid. The last place guy got paid, I think, probably $10,000. But the guy that won $1 million, well, second place was still like, I don't know, 100, 200, something like that. So, I mean, it was just stacked. The payouts were stacked. You wanted to be there. You wanted to in on that action. So, thank you to those guys that brought us that action. And then I gotta say, the other amazing thing that they did is they put like a third of the field of their fishermen in team deals. A third of their guys, they did it. These guys didn't have to go, knocking on doors. FLW put it might have been more than a third, but they were putting guys like I was on a team deal. They'd put us in cahoots with, Mars Candy or Lowry Spices, or Kellogg's was part of it. Castro was part of it. The VP was part of it. At various stages, these companies were part of it, and all these fishermen. A lot of the team deals were probably not all the same, but National Guard was part of it until that was shut down by Congress people in my own state of Minnesota for freaking heading that up and killing that deal. But anyhow, they had all these fishermen in these team deals, and their plan was to put the goal was to get everybody in the team deal eventually. But the downfall in the economy in the late 2000s kind of shot that down. So anyways, I feel like Irwin and what he was doing was underappreciated. I heard a lot of ridiculous complaints from my competitors at the time. Not everybody, But complaints like, why do I have to wear their Energizer Bunny tournament jersey on the final day of the tournament? Well, let's see, you're fishing for $1 million, okay? That's why. You know, these this is what they're selling. This is what they're selling their sponsors, apparently. So that's why. Or why do I gotta run their Ranger boat? Why can't I use my own boat? Because at the time you had to fish in the finals out of a boat provided by the FLW Tour, which was Ranger. So guys would complain about that. It's like, you know, and a lot of those guys, I mean, they had another place to go and they went there. I mean, you know, some guys were just not suited for the FLW Tour. It was a perfect match for me because in those days I had young children, and the FLW management, they set up all the things for me to do with with whatever team sponsors they had, and they you know, they just tell me when I need to go here, when I need to go there, what I have to do. And it was well suited for a guy that had young children at the time, because that way, instead of me making all these tons of arrangements, I could spend more time, you know, at home with the kids. So it was perfectly suited for me. It wasn't suited for everybody, and those anglers left. But anyhow, that's just kind of going off in another tangent. You know, nothing's perfect for everybody. So, but man, I just really, really miss the leadership that Irwin Jacobs, Charlie Evans, Charlie Hoover, and their teams under them. I don't know all the names. And I don't really know who did what. And I don't know, I mean, maybe it's like the making of sausage as they're trying to wrangle these, you know, big companies into sponsoring their fishing trail. And you know, the making of sausage or the making of bratwurst, do you really want to witness that? Or do you want to just be there when that bratwurst comes off the grill? That's kind of how it was. It's like, I don't know how they're, at the time, it's like, I don't know how they're doing this, but dang it, give me that bratwurst off the grill. I love it. So, but even myself, I mean, I had my little gripes, but not at the level that I saw a lot of guys griping. And I bet a lot of those guys now might be singing a little bit different tune. Maybe some of them not, who knows? But I don't know. Irwin had a vision. He brought it to. He brought it, man. I mean, even. I mean, I'll never forget when he said someday he's gonna have $1 million to give away to somebody in a tournament for first place, and he delivered that. You know, how he did it, how that all happened, how it all got to that point. Was Irwin making money? Was Irwin losing money while he was doing this? And was he looking at it as an investment for the future and hopefully get a return? I don't know. A lot of people said he was doing it just to sell Ranger boats. Like, cool, I got a Ranger boat. Cool, let's do it. Let's sell some Ranger boats. So, anyhow, thanks, Irwin, Charlie, and their team. Thank you for the vision of the FLW Tour, bringing it to the height of where it was. And sorry to see it go. I don't know all the reasons why it went. I can only speculate. But it is what it is. It was what it was. It was great at the height of it. It put me, I I don't know. I've had a good life because of the FLW Tour. Had a good life. Still have a good life. And I'm not going away either. Just because the FLW Tour is going away, I'm staying. I've got my jig in hand, along with a whole other boatload of tackle, and we're going to catch a lot more fish. We're going to be doing it for some other league. Might still be Major League Fishing this coming season. I don't know. There's a lot. I don't have all the information from all the tours as far as putting schedules together next year and what payouts are, what entry fees are. Don't have all the information yet, so I don't know what I'm going to be doing. But I ain't going away. Heck no. I'm still going strong. I got the last 3 years in the pro circuit, I got 27th in the AOI, 25th in the AOI, 25th in the AOI. And that's out of 160 boats. That's competitive. Let's look at this year. 3rd AOI on the Toyota Series in the Southwest Division. 2nd AOI in the Champions Tour here in Minnesota, which is one of the best paying circuits that I know of now, because they still pay over 100%. So thank you, Champions Tour, for that. But anyways, my performance is still there. I still have the performance. And what really sucks now with no FLW Tour is now I'm at square one. I have to qualify, and I've been trying to qualify to get into the Bass Pro Tour the last 3 years. Performance hasn't been up. I mean, I haven't performed to that level of qualification, because you got to be top 10 in the AOI for the FLW / pro circuit. And I was 27th, 25th, 25th. But it's not far. 25th is not far from 10th. In fact, this last year, just looking at it, I finished in the top 55 of the 6 tournaments. However, 0 top 10s. That was kind of a downfall. And the other 6th finish was 112th at the Harris Chain. That was the finish that really killed me. Because if you take that 112th and put that one as a top 50 finish, I am qualified for the Bass Pro Tour next year. Just that one tournament. That tournament still bugs the heck out of me. I mean, even right after the completion of it, I was just like, how did this happen? Because I really felt like I could do better in that one, but we've all been there. We've all had those decent practices that turn into tournaments where you just can't get nothing going. So, but anyways, my point there is that's how close. I mean, I'm right there. I'm getting up in there in age, 57 years old. There is an age. Every pro fisherman gets to an age where their performance starts to decline. I'm not at that age. I can go out here and run for 30 minutes straight. No problem. I can go in the gym for an hour, lift weights hard. I can stand on the front of this deck for 12 hours. The only time coming off my feet is getting behind the wheel to find another hot spot. So, in my brain, which is the most valuable tool of any bass fisherman, my brain is still, it's probably my weakest link at this point. Sad to say. My memory, I used to have when it came to fishing, I used to have the perfect memory. Every fish I caught, I could remember it a year later, right where I caught it, how I caught it, what the conditions were. That I can no longer do. And in fact, I find myself, and here's another, this is a real thing now with my brain. in practice, I might put down like 40 waypoints. And then now I'm out there during the competition, and I'll go into a bay where I got like 10 waypoints, and I'll be like, dang it, which one of these 10 was the one with the 2 brush piles side by side that had, you know, that I had like 3 bites that I shook off? Which one of these waypoints was it? I can't remember. That has happened more than once, where I can't remember which waypoint was like the sweetest waypoint in a cluster of, you know, when I drive into an area that has a cluster of waypoints. That is a real aging related problem. So, but there's ways to fix that, I guess, right? Anyways, we're really getting off on a tangent, guys and gals. Thanks for watching, and again, thank you to the people that got that FLW tour cranking up, and I'm sorry to see it go away. Change is inevitable. Although Major League Baseball and NFL football and NBA, and NHL hockey, they sure have been around a long time. Our sport is still trying to figure out where the best way to do this sport. But thanks again, Erwin Jacobs, Charlie Hoover, Charlie Evans, and their teams of people who brought our sport to such a high level, and hopefully management of Bassmaster, management of Major League Fishing, and their marketing teams, hopefully they can find the pathway to reach those levels and surpass those levels in the future. I mean, I know they're trying. They get a lot of criticism, but they love the sport. They obviously they want to make money. They don't want to lose money, which is why we lost the FLW tour. But all those people love the sport of bass fishing, and they want to see it succeed, but they want to make some money at the same time. It's just, in some cases, I don't know. I just got to have faith in what they're doing. And there's also another league now, the NPFL, what is it called? The National Professional Fishermen's League or whatever. That's been out a couple of years. So maybe whatever they're going to do is going to be the thing that brings fishing to the highest levels. I don't know. I just wish them the best of luck. Hope they can get the job done. It's really hard at these. I mean, I'm at square one. Square one. I was at the top level for all those years, and it's just, you know, how did I end up here? How did I end up at square one? That's something actually, I didn't really just ask that of myself now for the first time. I have asked myself that many times. In fact, and one of them is complacency. Complacency will bring you down. And I think I was, that was part of why I'm sitting here at square one. But in the last, but I have recognized that, not just now, or not just this year, but I've recognized this in the past. It really, where it came to light, let's just say it right now, where complacency came to light in my career was when MLF formed the Bass Pro Tour. Now they loaded their roster with all the elite guys that they could get, and then they handpicked the best resumes from the FLW Tour, which, and by best resume, that would be, you know, fishermen with the AOY titles, fishermen with multiple wins, fishermen with championship titles, fishermen with large social media followings. Okay, those are the resumes they're looking for, mine of which was not included in that bunch. So that I could understand that. I knew the first few guys they picked, Brian Thrift, David Dudley, and I don't know who else, but those are the kind of resumes they were grabbing off the FLW Tour, understandably, okay? But then, now, with the gutted Bassmaster Elite field, with it virtually, 80% of it gone or whatever it was, they had to fill their roster. So I made it known to them that I'm interested in being on that, in fishing in their league, and I'd like to be on their roster. Well, when all was said and done, I didn't get the call, and that hurt. And then I looked at myself, and I said to myself, Jim, why? I can understand why maybe I didn't get the call for the Bass Pro Tour, because my resume doesn't stack up to Brian Thrift. It doesn't stack up to David Dudley and a few other guys they picked off the FLW roster. But then when the Bassmaster people didn't give me the call for the elites, when I made it known to them I wanted to be with them, that kind of stung. And not to their fault. I'm not blaming Bassmaster for anything on that. I'm only blaming myself, because the complacency I had, I'd let my fishing fall behind, my skill level fall behind. I wasn't keeping up with trends. I wasn't invested into making myself a better fisherman on a weekly, monthly, yearly basis. I was stuck in the rut of the fisherman I was, and that's why I'm back at square one. But that was 3 years ago, and that was an awakening. And since that awakening, I have studied this sport. I have invested a lot more time into the study of it. I am putting in more hours on the water than ever before, in which I can do with my kids are adults now. So these are things I can do. Getting older, but this is what can be done. And it is still my dream to fish at the top level. I'm not there right now. So whether it be the Bass Pro Tour or the Elites, I'm not sure what league I'm going to go for, but that announcement will be made when the decision is made here within a month. So anyways, this is kind of rambled on quite a bit. Again, thanks for all those good years, FLW Tour. I appreciate it. Over.